Man, oh man, folks. Monday Night Raw. So, last night we got the worst Monday Night Raw of 2020. Keith Lee got completely buried in his Raw debut against the Viper Randy Orton. And then we got this worst hashtag going viral on Twitter. Trionics. Are you fucking kidding me? Trionics? And then, not to mention, now WWE decides at the last minute they want to use Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan correctly on TV by having them pick up the victory, along with Bianca Belair, pick up the victory over the Iconics and Zelina Vega. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you the matches we got on Monday Night Raw last night. We got Shayna Baszler versus Bayley. And then we got the 24/7 championship match. We got that match too. And then we got Montez Ford versus Angel Garza. And then we got Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, and Bianca Belair versus the Iconics and Zelina Vega in the six-women tag team match. And then we got Randy Orton versus Keith Lee. And then we got Asuka versus Sasha Banks, which I don't know why the fuck they would put her in a rematch after her loss. After her loss at SummerSlam. After she just lost her Raw Women's title to Asuka at SummerSlam. They would put her in a fucking rematch. I don't get it. Still don't get that shit. And then you got Rey Mysterio teaming up with his son, Dominick Mysterio, versus Seth Rollins and Murphy. My question is that really Rey Mysterio's son? Or is it just a storyline kind of thing? Or is it just like Kurt Angle and Jason Jordan kind of storyline thing? So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. Thank you here for being here. I'm Brandon Ingram here with your August the 24th, 2020 Monday Night Raw review, recap and review. So, again, we are going to go over what happened on Monday Night Raw because WWE needs to open their fucking ears and listen and realize how much of a failure Monday Night Raw was last night and how much of a fucking failure Raw Underground was. They need to fucking listen. They really do. Because I'm telling you right now, you know for a fact that we are bound to get Monday Night Raw garbage next week. You know that. And then you got a guy on Twitter asking me, how did he get buried? Why don't you watch the goddamn show and figure it out for your damn self? Why don't you watch the show and find out? Why don't you watch the fucking show and find out? Jesus Christ, I hate when somebody asks me a fucking question on Twitter. Man, these fucking idiots and fucking clowns on Twitter. I tell you, man. Tell you the truth. We got some illogical fucking idiots on Twitter. Absolutely makes no sense. Folks, before we get started with the review, be sure you hit that like, subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications. So never miss a single upload of my Ingram Wrestling News videos that I upload to YouTube that I share on Twitter each and every week. And My Monday Night Raw, NXT, and Friday SmackDown reviews, they go live every week. Of course, I'm playing music because it's fucking quiet in here. Anyways. So, you know what? We're going to go ahead and get fucking started with this recap, with this Monday Night Raw recap and review. So, Monday Night Raw opens up with the WWE Champion, Drew McIntyre, like it should. Like it rightfully should. So he makes his way to the ring as the announcers reveal that Asuka and Sasha Banks will battle for the Raw Women's Championship in a lumberjack match. I still don't understand why she has to get a rematch after she just lost the Raw Women's Championship to Asuka at SummerSlam, the Thunderdome. And I'm probably going to be mentioning that twice here. McIntyre welcomes us to the Thunderdome, then asks for a thumb up from all the fans on the screens. Fans obligate and the fans oblige. They oblige, basically. And McIntyre says that's cool. As was his win over Randy Orton last night. He says he won because he's hungrier than Randy, works harder, and pushes forward when the chips are down. Drew admits Randy is the best right now, but last night he was that much better. Drew says Randy won the greatest wrestling match ever. And Randy claimed he was the best wrestler in the world. So what does that make him? That's a good question. What does that make him? Considering he won with a wrestling move. He says if Randy wants to step in the ring with him again, that's fine because he didn't get a chance to send Randy to Claymore Country. As McIntyre is leaving, Orton all of a sudden attacks him from behind on the stage. Orton punches Drew, then throws him into the LED wall. So then Drew fires back and they fight through backstage into Gorilla, where Orton breaks his eyes, then hits a punch. Officials push Randy away and try to help Drew to his feet, but then Orton comes back and hits a second punch. They go to commercial break with officials checking on Drew, who looks out of it. So back live, they're back live, and Drew McIntyre is still struggling to get on his feet with the help of producers, of course. Duh. He shrugs them off and says he's fine, but he can barely stand. Sarah Stryver stops Nia Jax backstage and asks her why she's here, seeing as she was suspended. Nia Jax says she's been reinstated because she apologized to Pat Buck. She screams at Sarah, who runs off. Shayna Baszler walks up and says everyone is waiting for the moment when Nia says something to get herself suspended again. So, first of all, let me go back to Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. So instead of keeping Orton's momentum at SummerSlam with a win and the WWE title and giving us a reason for the rematch between Orton and Drew McIntyre, you mean to tell me we're getting a rematch anyway with no reason and simply because WWE Payback? Great creative there. But you know, WWE booked Keith Lee versus Randy Orton for Payback, not Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre for Payback. Now, I know some people are probably mad because they wanted that match again. They want to see that match. It was so good, they want to see it again. I mean, you can't blame them for that. Anyways, Nia says Baszler should be focusing on a match with Bayley, but Shayna calls her Haystacks Kohan. Then says that's not fair because Haystacks was decent looking. Nia says that's rich coming from an Adam's family reject. Shayna welcomes her back and walks off. So we got Shayna Baszler versus Bayley with Sasha Banks at ringside. So before the match gets underway, Nia Jax walks onto the stage and shares at Shayna as they head to the break. Obviously, I'm not feeling it right now because I unleashed it on my other Monday Night Raw review. See how quick I calmed down real quick? Yeah. So anyways, commercial break, back live, and the match officially starts with a lockup, and Shayna takes Bayley's arm. Nia Jax is still waiting or still watching on. It looked like she was waiting, but she's still watching. Bayley runs at Baszler, but gets grabbed and taken down to the mat. Baszler twists Bayley's arm and stands on her head. Baszler snaps her arm, and Bayley rolls out of the ring. Bayley eventually gets back inside and takes a headlock. Baszler shoots her off and drops her with stiff forearms. Then hits a running knee in the corner. Baszler takes Bayley down with a triangle choke, but Sasha jumps on the apron to cause a distraction. Bayley capitalizes to beat Shayna into the corner. Bayley hits a suplex for a 2 count. Bayley lands a running clothesline, but Baszler comes back with some stiff leg kicks. Bayley suckers. She basically suckers Baszler out of the ring, so Nia Jax comes down and attacks Shayna. So Shayna got a disqualification. She won by disqualification, basically. So here's what I have to say. I just want to say that I don't know if this was the right decision or not to book Shayna Baszler versus Bayley on Raw or not, honestly. I mean, why? I don't even know why they even booked this match on the show. I mean, it's the same match we done seen in the WWE. Remember, we seen Shayna Baszler on SmackDown when she beat the crap out of Bayley. Remember that? Didn't it lead to a match there? Remember that one? I mean, I don't know why we're still getting Bayley versus. I don't know why we still got Bayley versus Shayna Baszler last night on Raw. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it made sense to y'all or not, but I don't think it made sense to me. Anyways, Jax sends Baszler into the ring and beats her down. Bayley and Banks cheer her on, so stops and stares at them. This is what I didn't get. Why the fuck would Nia Jax be staring at 2 heels when she's a heel herself? How does this fucking shit even make sense? Nia stops and stares at them, and Baszler joins her, and they chase the role models up the ramp. So you mean to tell me Nia Jax act like a heel and turn face at that moment? How does this make sense? All right. So anyways, Kevin Owens is walking backstage, fixing a tie to his tank top and looking for Aleister Black's room. He finds the room, knocks, and asks if he's coming, but Black doesn't respond. So then it goes to commercial break. Back for commercial break, Kevin Owens comes to the ring for the KO show and introduces his guest for tonight, the returning Black. Black comes down to the ring with his eye bandaged. His eye was punctured by Murphy at the bias of Seth Rollins. Black doesn't climb the steps, but rolls inside the ring. Owens thanks him and says everyone has been concerned about him. Black asks them to just show the footage. Owens says he knows what Black is feeling. He knows how he's feeling because Seth and Murphy got under his skin as well. It's what Seth loves to do, but Like he told Ric Flair a few weeks ago, he's done terrible things, but he's trying to take a different path. Black falls off his chair, and Owens gets up to check on him, asking for medical help. Black elbows him, then hits Black Mass. I don't understand this fucking shit. I really don't. I really don't fucking understand this fucking bullshit. So you mean to tell me, and I'm going to say this again, like I said on my Monday Night Raw review, you mean to tell me that Aleister Black was kept off TV just to sell the simple fact, folks, that he has one eye. WWE, are you fucking serious? And he turned heel on Kevin Owens. How can they possibly fuck this guy up? 2 years of being on the main roster is absolutely insane. And sad. It's also sad because they have been ruining Aleister Black for 2 years, and it's sad. NXT's been taking good care of him while Monday Night Raw is just fucking burying him, man. Just been wasting him on TV. Just like they did with Keith Lee last night. And then you got this clown asking, how did he get better? You got a clown asking, how did he get better? I'm going to comment and be like, why don't you rewatch the match and find out? Why don't this guy rewatch the match and find out? I'm not responding. Fuck it. You got somebody asking me a stupid question on Twitter. I'm not fucking responding. Fuck this fucking clown. I'm not responding. I'm really not. So anyways, Bayley and Sasha are arguing backstage, and Charlie comes up and says they narrowly escaped. Bayley says they didn't escape. They avoided drama. Banks says she has bigger things to worry about. So yeah, she says she has bigger things to worry about, and Bayley says once Sasha is 2 belts Banks again, why did they go with 2 Banks belts? Why did they go with 2 belts Banks? This just doesn't make sense. That's like saying 2 Banks belts. That doesn't make sense. 2 belts Banks. Neither of them makes sense. Makes 0 sense. Again, they will focus on payback. So seemingly Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are going to be teaming up against Bayley and Sasha Banks for the Women's Tag Team Champions at Payback. And obviously, the impossible happens. We have another non-existent Raw Tag Team division once again wrestling in singles match. I thought my buddy JD was referring to the Raw Women's Tag Team division. I was hoping. Well, this was my notes. This is what I said. Here we are. That just goes to show right there how bad they created the men. I really don't. I don't even have to do good on my review because I've already did my Monday Night Raw review. I'm just going over what all happened to those of you who missed my Monday Night Raw review that was last night, obviously. But man, talk about a waste. Talk about a waste of 1 hour Monday Night Raw. I still can't fucking believe they put Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax in a tag team match against Sasha Banks and Bayley for the Women's Tag Team Champions. Doesn't that shock some of y'all? I just want to ask, doesn't that shock some of you? That surprised me right there. That surprised me almost a little bit. I may actually go to McDonald's and get me some breakfast this morning. I may actually go to McDonald's and use my card to go get me some breakfast. I'm serious. No, I'm dead serious. I may actually go do it. I can use something to eat. It is 5 o'clock in the morning and I am already hungry. That's how you know I got some good sleep last night. I took a nap yesterday. I slept the entire day because I know for a fact that I got to work today. I already know. So anyhow, we got this garbage, this god-awful 24/7 championship match, as if they're acting like, as if WWE's acting like the 24/7 championship is supposed to be the most important title on the show, which it's not. I can tell you right now, the WWE championship is the most important title on the goddamn show. Anyways, so the match starts and Benjamin storms Akira Tozawa and his fucking god-awful ninja character in the corner, then slams him down. Truth attempts to cover Tozawa, and Shelton kicks him off. I think I said it right. Alexander drop kicks Shelton and powders him with right hands. Then hits a head scissors into the turnbuckle. Cedric looks for a springboard, but Benjamin knees him in midair, and Alexander crashes at ringside. Truth attacks Benjamin and looks for the spin kick, but Benjamin beats him down. Tozawa runs off the back of Truth onto Shelton, who lifts him and powerbombs him over the ropes onto his ninja buddies. So Akira gets put back on the apron and Truth throws Shelton over the ropes where the ninjas hold him. Tozawa rolls up Truth and wins. Like that. And he's 24/7 champion again, folks. So clearly, I saw Monday Night Raw last night that this entire first hour has been literally same garbage we've seen, folks, inside the Performance Center in the Monday Night Raw Thunderdome. Man, you gotta feel bad for Cedric Alexander last night, man. Holy fuck. You have got to feel bad. You all have got to feel bad for Cedric Alexander and his 24/7 Fatal 4-Way title match. Or should I say 24/7 title match? Fatal 4-Way match for the 24/7. This entire show so far, absolutely nauseating trash. This show last night was trash. Complete trash, folks. Folks, I encourage you all not to watch next Monday's Monday Night Raw because it's going to be the same way as it was this Monday. I can tell you right now. Heck, it was even garbage before SummerSlam even came. Anyways, Randy Orton is walking backstage and Sarah Schreiber asks if he wants to say anything about earlier tonight. And he says yes, then walks off. So we got a commercial break. And then the Legend Killer, when we come back from commercial break, the Legend Killer, the Viper, the three most destructive letters in WWE Sports Entertainment, RKO, Randy Orton, comes to the ring. Orton says that for the longest time, he has done what he wanted, when he wanted, to who he wanted. But last night, that wasn't the case. He promised everyone he would RKO Drew. Kicked him in the head and takes his title. But he didn't. He says you can call him a lot of things. But the one thing he is a man of his word. He promised to end the careers once and for all of Edge, Christian, The Big Show, Shawn Michaels, and Ric Flair. Well, it's the Big Slow. He did just that. Earlier tonight, Drew came out here and the opportunity presented itself. So he took that opportunity twice. Why? Because Drew offered a rematch out of pity. Who the hell does he think he is? Randy says. He's Randy Orton. The Legend Killer. He's Randy Orton, the Legend Killer, the greatest wrestler. But Orton is interrupted by the debuting Keith Lee, the Limitless One. They fucking messed up his music really fucking bad. They ruined his fucking music. And I didn't even mention this on my Monday Night Raw review. Or I might have did. I don't know. I don't fucking care. But they ruined his fucking music. They need to fix his music really bad. Wow, man. Talk about disrespect. So Keith Lee comes to the ring and stands face to face with Randy. Lee says he seems perplexed. So he introduces himself and says he is here to offer him the luxury of basking in his glory. He says Randy has been called many things, so he has. And since the Limitless One is here on Raw, and since Randy is looking for a fight, he'd like to step up. If Randy is willing to accept the challenge right now, Orton asks what his name was again, then says maybe later and leaves. Charlotte Caruso's backstage with Angel Garza and Demi from The Bachelor. She says the evidence is out there, so is Selena willing to admit she poisoned Montez Ford? Vega says that footage proved nothing. Garza says she was caught, but everyone has done bad things. Vega says he's not helping and storms off. Garza asks Demi what she's doing tonight, then turns to Charlie and says both of them can come watch his match. Of course, we got Montez Ford with Angelo Dawkins, Garza with Andrade, and Demi Barnett ringside. So the match gets underway with Garza taking a headlock, but Ford shoots him off and hits a dropkick. Ford gets thrown to the apron, but fires back with an enziguri. Ford gets up top. He goes up top and jumps at Garza, who drops him with a mid-air dropkick. Garza rips his pants off and beats Ford against the ropes. Ford gets put in the tree of wound and kicked. Garza drops Ford and he rolls to the apron. Ivar walks down and hands a leg of ham to Demi, who leaves with him. Garza is furious and distracted, allowing Ford to kick him in the chest. Ford goes up top and hits a frog splash for the win. Wow, man. You want to talk about the impossible. So the impossible happens. Here we have a non-existent Raw Tag Team division once again wrestling in singles match. This show's been fucking garbage since it even fucking started last night. Nothing has rehashed this god awful crap from weeks prior tonight, folks. Well, last night. Because anyhow, Nia Jax approaches Shayna Baszler backstage and says she isn't thrilled about teaming with her at Payback. But the more she thinks about it, the more she thinks they can actually win. And she wants to win. Baszler says if she helps her with that, she needs to get off her back. Jax pokes her hard in the chest. So Baszler slaps her hard. So we got Ruby, Liv, and Bianca Belair walking towards the ring. They're teaming up against the Iconics and Zelina Vega. The Moronics, the Idiotics, the Stuponics, the I don't want to see on my TV Onyx. Get off my TV Onyx. So we got 6 women tag team match. So they start the match with Billie Kay, Liv, who lock up, and Kay drills her with a knee. Peyton tags in, but Liv lands some kicks and whips her to the corner for a hip attack. Ruby tags in and elbows Peyton down. So Kay comes in and tags the fight to Ruby. He comes in and takes the fight to Ruby. The Iconics double team Ruby and isolate her from her corner. Then tag Zelina, and she puts Riot in the corner for a running knee. Bianca tags in and drags Zelina by the hair. Then hits a few shoulder tackles. Belair knocks Peyton and Royce. I got it wrong again. She knocks Peyton and Billie Kay off the apron before countering a head scissors and slamming Vega. Bianca Belair hits a glam slam followed by a handspring moonsault by Peyton and Billie. Break the pin attempt. Ruby and Liv run in and hit drop kicks to both of them. Man, oh man, Raw's just not the same with all this stuff on the show. Belair dodges Vega and hits the KOD for the win. Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, and Bianca Belair deserve that win. After their time, after all their times of getting buried by WWE, constantly getting completely buried, they deserve that win. The Iconics, however, deserve to get fucking buried because they fucking suck at what they do. I know about Zelina Vega. She doesn't really deserve to get buried. She's good at what she does in the ring. She's better than the Idiotics, the Moronics. Anyways, Ricochet and Cedric Alexander are backstage doing a little arm wrestling. Oh, God. But Mark Henry comes up and says he needs the platform unless they want to go with him. They both say no, and he takes it with him. MVP comes up and asks Cedric why he's back here having fun and not pissed that he lost the 24/7 championship match. Ricochet tells him to leave, and WWE's typical garbage. MVP says he didn't ask him. The man who abandoned Cedric last week. MVP says he's wasting his prime years with a guy who calls himself the one and only. What I would have said, Ricochet, is you are wasting your time with Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley for a man who calls himself the Montez Vontavious Porter, and for the man who calls himself United States champ. That's what I would have told MVP if I was Ricochet. Or I would have said this: funny for a fucking Montez Vontavious Porter, because without your buddies, you would lose. Without your buddies, you would lose. Because without MVP's buddies, MVP would lose. Absolutely. So the Hall of Famer, Mark Henry, is in the ring, and he says we're just 6 days away from payback. Tonight, we want to find out who is stronger, Bobby Lashley or Apollo Crews. I don't know why the fuck we got this arm wrestling match. Who really wants to watch a boring ass arm wrestling match? I've said that on my other Monday Night Raw review, and I'm saying it on this review. Why the fuck do we want to watch that shit on TV? I mean, I guess you could say it's wrestling, but it's nowhere near wrestling related. It's more like boring. Anyways, so who better to find out than the world's strongest man? With that said, Henry introduces Lashley and Crews. I don't even know what the hell Henry was even doing on TV. There they go, calling up these old-time Hall of Famers on TV. Why can't WWE just leave these Hall of Famers alone and let them rest at home? Jeez Louise, man. Henry introduces Lashley and Crews. Henry says he has already told both of their buddies not to come out here because they want a fair competition. Lashley says that's fine because he doesn't need any help. He's going to slam Apollo's hand down, then beat him up, but not too much because he needs to beat him up again on Sunday. Apollo says Bobby saw what he did to MVP last night, and the same will happen on Sunday. But first, he's going to beat him in an arm wrestle. So, they start to grip each other's hand, but Lashley pulls away and takes his jacket off. Crews stamps on Lashley's foot and slams his hand down. Henry announces Crews as the winner, but Lashley flips out and knocks the podium over. Apollo dodges an incoming Lashley, knocks him out of the ring, then dives over the ropes onto MVP and Benjamin, who are running down the ramp. Crews retreats with his title. And obviously, you know that was bound to happen. Crews retreating with his title. And then we see highlights of Seth Rollins versus Dominick Mysterio. Seth Rollins won the match. But tonight, Dominick teams up with his father to face Seth and Murphy. Charlie interviews the Mysterio family. Ray says he is proud of his son. He faced one of his most dangerous superstars in WWE, and he gave him hell. Dominick says he was terrified before his match last night, but he knew he'd have his family in his corner, and that gave him courage. Ray says that's what Seth doesn't understand. But one day, Seth will know what he put his family through. Ray says Dominick is the real future of Monday Night Raw. Lana and Natalya are in the ring, and Lana says they're inducting someone into the Hall of Fame. Ooh, wonder who that would be. Hope it's not Bruce and Vince McMahon. Lana says Natalya is an amazing wrestler, amazing woman, etc. I don't know what that stands for, but anyways, Natty cuts her off and says she's going to get a huge celebration because she's the BOAT, but tonight is about Mickie James. Lana says Mickie has been writing their cocktails, and Natalya says that's why tonight they're retiring the chick with the kick. So here's a video package of Mickie James' career, and they show a blank screen. James comes running down, and Natalya says they're just trying to make her relevant. James takes them both out with mid kicks and leaving smiling. She leaves smiling. So we see Shane McMahon entering Raw Underground. The Hurt Business appear. Lashley is furious and he wants to fight. Shane says he came to the right place. So we got Randy Orton versus Keith Lee in Keith Lee's debut match on Monday Night Raw. And obviously, I had a clown comment and talking about how did he get buried? Why don't you rewatch the match? I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna comment and be like, why don't you rewatch the match and find out? Watch this shit. And it's enough that they fucked up his music entrance. I'm gonna be like, why don't you rewatch the match? It's enough that they done fucked up his entrance music. So here's what happened with Randy Orton versus Keith Lee. So before that, we got they were live in the Raw Underground, which has a less round look, and Lashley chokes a guy out. Dolph Ziggler steps up, and Ziggler shoots for a leg and gets Bobby down. Ziggler grabs the neck, but Bobby slams him down and kicks his back. Ziggler kicks Bobby and jumps on his back with a sleeper. Lashley tries to roll through, but Ziggler holds on. Lashley shrugs him off and tackles Ziggler off the mat into a bunch of guys. Shelton and MVPs send a random guy onto the mat. Bobby head kicks him. Lashley asks, who's next? But nobody steps up. So we got Randy Orton versus Keith Lee. So here's what happened with this Randy Orton versus Keith Lee match, folks. So this huge match gets underway and they lock up with Lee forcing Orton to the corner and holding him. Orton takes a headlock. Lee shoots him off and leapfrogs him, then hits a shoulder. Orton stares at Lee before getting up and hitting a few European uppercuts. Orton swings a punch, but Lee grabs his fist and bends his wrist. Then hits a standing overhead belly to belly. Orton rolls outside and Lee goes after. Lee looks to lawn dirt Orton into the ring post, but Orton slides off and shoves him into the post by the shoulder. Orton gets him in the ring and stomps Lee's lumps, then takes a headlock. Anyways, Continuing. So Keith stands up with Orton on his back, slams him. Lee builds a head of steam and splashes Orton. So then hits the ropes and connects with a crossbody. Lee hits Orton with a pounce and he flees out of the ring. My stomach is fucking hurting. Lee gets him back inside, but Orton kicks him coming through the ropes. And it's a draping DDT. Orton gets down and starts pounding the mat, but Drew McIntyre pulls him out and attacks him. So after the match, Drew McIntyre slams Randy. He slams Randy into the barricade, then the timekeeper's area. Randy manages to flee, and Drew is left stumbling around ringside, still woozy from the 2 punts. We see a lengthy replay of the main event of SummerSlam, including Roman Reigns' shocking return and new attitude. This Sunday, Roman Reigns, Braun, and Bray will battle in a no-holds-barred match for the Universal Championship match. So that's going to be for the Universal Championship. That's funny how they bring back Roman Reigns and then already puts him in the title match. Even though he does deserve a title match, because the simple fact that his Universal title run wasn't so good due to his leukemia. He had to relinquish his Universal Championship due to leukemia, and that was sad. I mean, it's sad to see him it's sad to see him relinquish his Universal title all those years ago, man. It was sad. So he has a reason to get a title opportunity. I don't care. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. He has a reason to get a title opportunity. He deserves it. Anyways, so Drew McIntyre is walking backstage and Charlie stops him. He says he's happy for Keith Lee, but he doesn't need him fighting his battles. Caruso says Drew was kicked twice and asks how he's feeling. Drew says he feels like crap. That Randy tried to end his career. He looks at the camera and addresses Randy, but Orton attacks him from behind. Orton hits a third punch and officials run up to make him back off. So, anyways, Charlie Caruso is outside the trainer's room and she says the doctors are concerned. Drew has a fractured skull, which could be career-ending, life-threatening. Folks, you ain't not going to believe what this guy just said on Twitter. Anyway, so Raw winning this championship lumberjack match. I'm kind of getting distracted because there's a guy freaking replying back to me. So we got Asuka versus Sasha Banks. So the title match gets underway, and Banks tries to roll Asuka up, but she kicks out and throws her out of the ring. Ruby Riott stands up to Sasha, but gets shoved into the barricade. Asuka hip attacks Sasha off the apron, but the heels stop the babyface from attacking Sasha. Back live as Sasha takes Asuka out of the ring, where Bayley hits her. Banks puts Asuka back inside and scores a 2 count. Banks runs at Asuka in the corner, but eats a knee. Then Asuka hits a jumping DDT for a near fall. Asuka counters a kick into an ankle lock. Sasha rolls through and sends Asuka out the ring. Banks gets on the apron and jumps off, but hits Ruby and Liv, while Asuka jumps on the apron and hits a running knee to Sasha. Asuka walks down Bayley, who throws every heel woman in her way, and she takes them out one by one. Banks attacks Asuka from behind and sends her into the ring for a false splash and a near fall. Bayley tries to grab a chair and bring it into the ring, but Shayna stops her. In the distraction, Asuka grabs Banks and applies the Asuka lock, and Sasha taps. So then we see Drew McIntyre being put into an ambulance backstage, and it drives off. Charlie says that due to the severity, due to the severity of Drew's injury, he's been taken to local medical facility. Keith Lee is nearby, and he says there is a large part of him that thinks he should have told him not to interfere tonight. Unfortunately, he knows Drew is one of the toughest men he's ever met, and he'll be okay. But Randy Orton can't say the same. So we're back in Raw Underground, and Lashley is battling Cedric Alexander. Lashley slams him down and locks in an armbar, where he smashes Cedric with hammer fists. MVP and Benjamin have pulled him off, but Eric and Ivor run up and start balling. The Hurt Business beat them down and are left standing tall to end the Underground for this week. At Payback on Sunday, we're getting Randy Orton versus Keith Lee. So Ray and Dominick Mysterio come out first, but they attack Seth, Rollins, and Murphy. During their entrance, Ray sends Rollins into the barricade. Murphy sends Dominick into the barricade. And Rollins tosses Ray over the commentary table. Rollins and Murphy double team Dominick and put him in the ring. So once I read this, I'm going to end this review because I'm getting tired. I'm getting kind of, I'm feeling weird, feeling some type of way. I don't know why I'm feeling some type of way, but I am. So here's what happened with this tag team match. So the match kicks off with Dominick and Murphy. And Dom hits a jawbreaker, followed by an arm drag. Dominick hits another arm drag, but Murphy blocks a third. I don't understand why my live stream is freezing. Only for Dominick to drop kick him out of the ring. Dominick sets up for a dive, but Rollins grabs his feet. Dominick hits a baseball slide. It's a baseball slide. on him and sends Murphy out of the ring as well. Ray then sends Rollins into the barricade. Ray gets Seth back in the ring and they double team him. Dom traps him onto the middle rope for the 619, but Murphy pulls him from the ring. Dominick jumps off the top rope onto Seth and Murphy. Then slides back inside and hits a. He slides back inside and hugs his dad. Back live, and Seth is in control of Ray. Stomping him around the ring, Ray hits a bulldog after kicking Murphy off the apron and looks to make a tag, but Murphy stops him. Ray hits an enziguri and tags Dominick, who comes in hot with clotheslines to Murphy. Dominick hits a springboard crossbody for a 2 count. Murphy whips him to the corner, but Dominick hits 2 elbows. Then Hurricane Rollins Murphy into the post. Dominick hits a springboard around the world DDT for a 2 count, thanks to Seth. Dominick goes out after Murphy and gets him inside, but gets distracted by Seth, allowing Murphy to attack his leg from behind. Rollins tags in and looks for a buckle bomb, but Dominick jumps off and tags his father. Ray hits a seated senton to Seth and Hurricane Rollins him onto the middle rope. Murphy tags in and Seth rolls to the floor, but Ray gets Murphy on the middle rope. Then he and Dominick hit stereo 619s. Dominick goes up top, but the lights start flashing. Dom is distracted, and Seth shoves him off the ropes onto the mat. Retribution stormed the ring and beat Ray and Dominick, while Rollins and Murphy hightails it with the announcers. Dominick gets thrown across the ring and rolls outside. Meanwhile, Rey Mysterio is thrown out belly first. Dominick is tossed into the barricade and stomped down, and Ray is thrown like a lawn dart into the ring post. Rollins and Murphy are still watching from the stage as Retribution climb on the apron and post. So that's the end of Monday Night Raw. Folks, I'm getting out of here. This is the end of your August 24th, 2020 Monday Night Raw recap and review. I just thought I'd do this for those of you who missed my Monday Night Raw review. I can tell you right now, between my Monday Night Raw review and my Monday Night Raw recap and review, my Monday Night Raw review was a whole lot better than this. So, comment down in the section below which one of my Monday Night Raw reviews do you think is better? Do you think my Monday Night Raw review from last night's better? Do you think my Monday Night Raw recap and review is better? So I'm ending this. I'm out of here.